So, Tim, you watched the game. What do you think will be the more frustrating thing for Mauricio Pochettino tonight? The fact they only have 1 point after 3 games, or the fact that they dominated and they had it in their hands, but much like the previous game, they let it go?
Well, it was so one-sided today, a bit similar to the Inter Milan game. Barcelona, I thought they got well beat. Lionel Messi was outstanding on the night. But tonight, it's been a long time since I've seen a more one-sided Champions League game, apart from the one I've just watched there against Liverpool after. But no, they were outstanding. Tottenham, they played very, very well. Christian Eriksen come back in the side and he makes them tick. You know, Dembele was good, and it was just a rush of blood from Hugo Lloris, gets a red card, and then they're up against it, and the ball bounces for PSV. They got lucky. After that, even I think Tottenham down, even at 10 men, they were pushing on, trying to win the game. They're more likely to go on and win it. It's going to be very difficult for them now.
For you, was the turning point the sending off?
Yeah, of course, it had a huge impact on the game. But I look back even to the Inter Milan game, I thought Spurs were by far the better team. I was really, for them to go on and lose the game, I was really surprised and disappointed for them because they, deserved to come away from the San Siro with 3 points. And today was very similar. Yeah. They're a better team in PSV, they're a better team in Inter Milan. But unfortunately, those away games, especially today as well, they've done more than enough to take away 3 points today. They'd be desperately disappointed, and I'm just not sure. Maybe they might have just left themselves with too much now. Even if they beat PSV and they beat Inter Milan, Inter Milan are already on 6 points. All they need, really one more win. I think it's going to be difficult. Which is, they are the second best team in this group. Barcelona are the best team, and they proved it when they went to Wembley.
It's can they overhaul Inter Milan? Simple as that, really, isn't it?
I think it's going to be difficult because if you really look at Inter Milan now, all they need is one win. I can see them getting it against PSV. And I feel sorry. I feel, Spurs have been very unlucky. And, listen, in football, you always get what you deserve. But unfortunately for Inter Milan, it was, for Spurs, they've just been undone, and today was a big
I think they're capable, Bellas, of winning all 3 games.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that. I think the team what played tonight, if they get Vertonghen back in...
But Barcelona away?
Yeah, I think they're capable.
Really?
I think without Lionel Messi, I'm not sure how bad the arm is. Hopefully it's not too good. And he can be out for a little bit longer, and they can... I think they're capable of winning 3 games, but as you quite rightly say, I don't think it'll be enough.
No.
Well, let's try and be positive. It's not mission impossible. It has been done before. There was one English team, didn't even pick up a single point, lost all 3 of their first Champions League games in 02-03 and still qualified. And the man who got the winner to get them back in?
Craig Bellamy. Last minute, sliding on his backside.
Yeah, well, he should have passed it to me anyway.
So does that give Tottenham a bit of hope? The fact that it can be done in even worse positions, or does that not take into account the quality of the 2 teams we're talking about here?
Look, the Barcelona game... Look, the way it worked for us, we had Juventus away, Dynamo Kiev away, and we had Feyenoord home. But even when we lost against Feyenoord at home, we felt we were a better team, or we could go to Feyenoord and win. Dynamo Kiev.
So was that the 3rd game?
Yeah, no, that was actually the second game. The first game was Dynamo Kiev away, and we lost. But you know what Dynamo Kiev. A different team playing them in Kiev when they come to yours. So we looked at that and thought, well, there's a good chance they don't travel well. The final game, we expected 3 points. We lost, I think Pierre Van Hooydonk scored. But there was enough in the game to say we could go to Rotterdam and win. And Juventus was just, look, we knew we had to stay alive. So if we beat Juventus at home, then we knew we had a great chance. We won. I think Andy Griffin scored.
So you weren't flat after losing 3 games?
No, do you know what? It was just, we looked at it because it was that we just didn't want to be out of Europe, and we knew we knew Juventus were going to top it. So, if I'm being honest, we looked at it and said, well, if we beat Feyenoord last game, qualifying for the next stage of Champions League weren't really in our thought process because Juventus were travelling to Dynamo Kiev. We knew Juventus would have a weaker team because they've already qualified.
Yes.
Kiev, Dynamo Kiev being in Kiev is a tough game for anyone. So we thought maybe Kiev might get something there and could end up finishing second in the group. And if we win our game, then we can go into the UEFA Cup. So our European adventure, because it was new to all of us, would still carry on. But just how it worked out, half-time, we had a good inkling what was going on. We were leading the game, then we went 2-0 up in the game. Then out of nowhere, final come at us through everything, and it was, a really, really good game, great atmosphere. And it was just, even when I scored, my first thought was, we're still in Europe. We still got games, because I was suspended due to my own fault. I missed a few of those games, so I didn't want my European adventure to be over. To end there. And I knew if we beat Feyenoord, we would stay in Europe, and we ended up doing it. But when we got back to the change rooms and realised what happened, Juventus were able to beat Dynamo Kiev, then we were in. Anything's possible.
So what, not message those Tottenham players, but how do you think they'll be feeling now? Will it be difficult for the Tottenham players not to genuinely believe that they're out?
I wouldn't say generally believe. Am I still right in believing if you finish third, you're going to the UEFA Cup?
Europa League.
Europa League,
yep.
Sorry, my fault. I get confused.
Well, obviously, depending on the home result against PSV.
Yeah, but if I was a Spurs player now, I'd be saying, well, look, we fancy our chances. We can win 3 games. They have the capabilities, even though I still think Barcelona away will be tough. But if Spurs go into Europa League, I believe they can win that trophy. They're going into a competition. They have a realistic chance of winning. So it isn't all doom and gloom for them.
Far from it. The league form is excellent. They're only 2 points off of Manchester City.
Yeah.
So
it's been the best start, for a very long time. And I agree with Bellas. I think if they go to Europa League, I think they can win it. It's often been seen as a hindrance to your league position, playing on Thursday, having to play on again on a Sunday. But I believe for Tottenham, they need to get a trophy, and I think it's a realistic chance. It's not easy. There's a lot of games, and that is the only problem.
A lot of travelling as well, different places.
Travelling, and the squad is not the biggest. It's not the biggest squad, but perhaps they might have to dip into the transfer market if they possibly can in January, depending on where they're going to be.
If you had to be really judgmental, would you say tonight was an opportunity squandered, or just one of those nights?
One of those nights. I think everything fell for them, PSV, and I think for Tottenham, I didn't think they got the rub of the green. People say you make your own luck. I think tonight...
But even a disallowed goal, that was...
Yeah, it was harsh. Oh. It was harsh. Everything went against them today. I think they have to dust themselves down. I think Maurizio will be... He's clear. I don't think he's a fool. He knows what he's looking at. He would tell the boys the honest truth that they played well there tonight. Yes, they can be disappointed, but there's a lot of good performances. Eriksen back is a massive plus for the huge game what they've got at Wembley against Man City on Monday night, because he makes them tick. Everything surrounding him. Look at the bench what they had there tonight. They have good players on the bench there tonight as well. Lamella's coming off it. They have international footballers now in every position. Harry Winks comes off. He played for England in a couple of games. So I think they're in a good place, Tottenham Hotspur. I just think tonight and this Champions League campaign has been a tough one to take, because in 2 of the 3 games they've outplayed the opposition.
Not had the results perhaps that they deserve.
No, I completely agree with that. I don't, like I said, Inter Milan, they deserve 3 points. Even to, the draw would have been harsh, but to lose was... I was so disappointed for them. They didn't deserve that.
It's a completely different competition. So will tonight's disappointment have any effect on their mentality at home to Manchester City on Monday?
No. If you're playing well,
Which they won the last 4 in the league.
Of course. So, it was, the mistake that was made, you could, you can do better, and he's a top player, and, he wouldn't, he'd be very disappointed with that. But the problem is if you're not playing well, and then, like I always found, even if you're not playing well, for instance, and you've nicked a result, it's great and it's a good feeling, but I always think, the back of my mind, we're going to get found out soon. We're going to get caught. Yeah. We can't keep getting away with this. Yeah. But when you're playing well, and it's sort of, you can take a lot of encouragement off the back of, all right, the result didn't go our way, but we keep playing like this, the results will turn, and unfortunately in a Champions League, but in the league it has been going their way, and they have had a good start in the league. So I don't see it, especially being Man City, at home, I don't see it being a problem.
It's a funny one, that, isn't it? Because they say the sign of a great team is when you can win and not play well. Yet there'll be something niggling at you that...
They've done that, Jeff, haven't they? I think they've done it over the last few weeks. They haven't played great, but they've been picking up results, hence why they've had the best start for a very long time. Tonight it went against them, it was the other way. They played well tonight and haven't got the results, and now they know how it feels a little bit.
Do you think they're also hope they'll have Dele Alli back as well? How would you assess their chances of beating Man City.
I think
on Monday.
Pep will be watching that tonight, and he'll be worried more than, I suppose, the Liverpool game. He would have given a little attention to detail with them, and certainly Tottenham. I think Tottenham have players that can hurt Man City. It was a poor game last year for Tottenham at Wembley. You know, they got dismantled by a very, very good Man City side. This Man City side hasn't got any weaker. They're still strong. They're going to need to have an off night for Tottenham to get something out of the game, but you have to give Tottenham a chance. I mean, Vertonghen's a big miss for me. I think if he was back, possibly Tottenham need their best players to be out there, and unfortunately it might come a little bit soon for a few of them guys.
Do they look to you as though they are progressing, Tottenham?
They're always progressing, just as a club in general, not just a team. You know, you can obviously the stadium coming. That's a clear sign of progression. But with the training grounds, as a football club, from the time I was in the Premier League to watching them evolve, watching them get better, and even their signings from an early stage, they've just I don't know, like, how long's Daniel Levy been involved with now?
Well, I was a player there when he came in. Yeah, it was,
you know, so it's a lot of that club.
Yeah.
And I don't know your feelings when you've worked with him closely, but since he's been at the helm, I've just seen that club gradually get better and better and better. And I don't see it stopping. I think the summer's going to be a big summer again for them. Just with the likes of, they've been able to keep, because down the years they've always lost one or two of their best players, and they've been able to recruit, and they've got, you know, good players in. But last year was a good summer for them. All right, they didn't sign the players, but they kept hold of their big players, which usually Spurs have lost. I think they're going to be tested again this summer, especially with Eriksen. I can see one of the giants coming in for him, either Real Madrid or Barcelona. I think that's near enough going to happen. Can they fend that off? Are they able to keep Eriksen? If they do and add to one or two players, then it's a matter of time before they go on and do something really special, because they've been very close. I thought they've been very unlucky of not winning the Premier League due to the fact of Leicester had no European football. It was just a one-off season. I felt for Spurs that year, and then a year later Chelsea then have no European football. When's the chances of that happening? So they were good. They were good to watch. You know, I love the manager. The game Monday is going to be tough, Man City, and I just think with Guardiola as well, and I think Pochettino is an outstanding manager, but I think Guardiola is the manager. And I think what he done to him last year at Wembley, look, and people say like the team and Spurs players not able to get close, especially first half, but Guardiola just threw something up different. You know, brought the wing backs, the full backs, put them inside. Delph left side. I'm getting confused. Brought Delph inside, played him as a 2, so he created a box in the middle. And Spurs took too long to react in, and against a team like Man City. And I take a lot of credit. I didn't think as much the players, Man City players, beat the Spurs, but I thought Guardiola beat Pochettino.
Tactics.
I thought he had a little bit more. So that's really going to be interesting, because I think Pochettino's such a good manager. He'd be prepared for something different on Monday, and that's what makes the game so exciting, because they both are outstanding players.